India is a land of stories, a place where history is not just in books, but in the very air we breathe. It is a very old country, with roots reaching back thousands of years. Imagine a river flowing through time, carrying tales of gods, kings, and ordinary people. This is the story of India, a unique journey that has shaped the world in many ways. The land itself is diverse, with high mountains, vast plains, and long rivers. This geography has always played a big role in its history. People from many different places came here, bringing their own ideas and beliefs, making India a rich tapestry of cultures. It is a land where ancient traditions live alongside modern ideas, creating a fascinating blend of old and new. Long, long ago, one of the world's first great civilizations grew along the banks of the Indus River. We call it the Indus Valley Civilization. The people who lived here were very clever and organized. They built well-planned cities like Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, with straight roads, brick houses, and even bathrooms with drainage systems. This was a remarkable achievement for a time so far back in history, more than 4,000 years ago. They had a system of writing, though we still do not fully understand it today. These people were skilled farmers, growing crops like wheat and barley, and they traded with faraway lands like Mesopotamia. Their society was peaceful and prosperous, a true wonder of the ancient world. The people of the Indus Valley have left us many clues about their lives. Archaeologists have found beautiful seals with carvings of animals like bulls, elephants, and unicorns. These seals might have been used for trade or as a mark of ownership. They also made lovely pottery and delicate jewelry from beads and shells. We have found small statues, including the famous dancing girl bronze figure, which shows their skill in art. The way their cities were built tells us they valued order and cleanliness. When we look at these ancient objects, we are looking at the very first chapter of India's long and epic story, a foundation upon which everything else was built. After the Indus Valley civilization slowly faded away, a new era began. This was the Vedic period, named after the Vedas, which are the oldest scriptures of Hinduism. These sacred texts contain hymns, prayers, and philosophical ideas. They tell us about the society of that time, which was organized into different groups and kingdoms. This was the age when great epic stories like the Ramayana and the Mahabharata began to take shape. These tales are not just stories. They are filled with wisdom about duty or dharma, life, and the universe. They have been told and retold for generations, becoming a central part of India's cultural and spiritual identity. As time moved on, small kingdoms grew into large, powerful empires. One of the first and greatest was the Mauryan Empire, founded by Chandragupta Maurya. His grandson, Ashoka the Great, became one of the most famous rulers in all of history. At first, Ashoka was a fierce warrior who expanded his empire through many battles. But after a particularly bloody war in a place called Kalinga, he felt great sadness and remorse. He decided to change his ways completely. He embraced Buddhism and its message of peace and non-violence. He spent the rest of his life spreading this message, carving his teachings on pillars and rocks throughout his vast empire so everyone could read them. After the Mauryan Empire, another golden age arrived with the Gupta Empire. This period is often called the Golden Age of India because it was a time of great progress and prosperity. Science, mathematics, and art flourished like never before. It was during this time that the Indian mathematician Aryabhata figured out that the Earth rotates on its axis and revolves around the Sun. He also made great contributions to the concept of zero, which is a cornerstone of modern mathematics. The art of this period was stunning, with beautiful sculptures of gods and goddesses and magnificent temples that showcased incredible skill and devotion. This era was a high point of classical Indian civilization. Many centuries later, a new and powerful force arrived in India, the Mughals. They came from Central Asia and established a mighty empire that would rule for over 300 years. The Mughal emperors were great builders and patrons of the arts. Emperor Akbar was known for his policy of religious tolerance, trying to bring Hindus and Muslims together. His grandson, Shah Jahan, had an undying love for his wife, Mumtaz Mahal. When she passed away, he built the most beautiful tomb in the world for her, the Taj Mahal. This stunning white marble monument is a symbol of love and is recognized all over the globe as a masterpiece of architecture. The Mughal era was a time of incredible cultural fusion. Persian art and culture blended with Indian traditions to create a unique and vibrant style. This can be seen in Mughal painting, which is famous for its intricate details and rich colors. It can also be heard in the music and tasted in the food of that period. They built grand forts like the Red Fort in Delhi and laid out beautiful gardens with fountains and flowing water. The legacy of the Mughals is all around us in India, in the monuments they left behind, the language they influenced, and the rich cultural heritage they helped create, adding another fascinating layer to India's complex history. While the Mughals were ruling in the north, ships from faraway lands in Europe began to arrive on India's coasts. These were traders from countries like Portugal, Holland, France, and Britain. They came seeking valuable spices, cotton, and silk, which were in high demand back home. At first, they were just interested in business. They set up small trading posts in coastal cities like Goa, Surat, and Madras. They asked the local Indian rulers for permission to trade and built warehouses to store their goods. For a long time, the relationship was mostly about commerce, with these European companies competing with each other for a share of India's immense wealth. Among all the European powers, the British East India Company proved to be the most ambitious and successful. It was not just a trading company, it had its own private army. As the Mughal Empire started to weaken, India was divided into many smaller competing kingdoms. The British cleverly took advantage of this situation. They began to play one ruler against another, offering their military support in exchange for land and power. They slowly transformed from being simple traders into powerful political players. The Battle of Plassey in 1757 was a major turning point, giving the company control over the rich province of Bengal and marking the real beginning of British dominance. Over the next 100 years, the British East India Company expanded its control over more and more of the Indian subcontinent. They used a mix of direct military conquest and clever political treaties to bring Indian princely states under their influence. Life in India started to change in many ways. The British introduced new laws, a new education system, and built railways to transport goods and troops across the country. While these changes brought some modernization, the main goal was to benefit Britain. Indian industries suffered, and vast amounts of wealth were drained from the country and sent to England, making Britain rich at India's expense. The growing power of the British and the changes they imposed led to a lot of anger and resentment among the Indian people. This finally exploded in 1857 with a massive rebellion, which the British call the Sepoy Mutiny and Indians call the First War of Independence. Though the rebellion was ultimately crushed, it was a huge shock to the British. It marked the end of the East India Company's rule. The British government took direct control, and India officially became a part of the British Empire, ruled by a viceroy appointed by the Queen of England. A new and difficult chapter had begun, where India was no longer its own master. Living under British rule was difficult for the people of India. The desire for freedom grew stronger with each passing year. A new generation of Indians, educated in modern ideas of liberty and justice, began to organize movements for independence. Leaders like Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, and many others started to demand more rights for Indians and eventually complete self-rule. The Indian National Congress was formed in 1885, providing a platform for these voices. The struggle was long and hard, with many people making great sacrifices for the dream of a free India. This was the beginning of a nationwide awakening, a collective journey towards reclaiming their destiny. Into this struggle stepped one of the most remarkable figures of the 20th century, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, whom the people lovingly called Mahatma, or Great Soul. Gandhi had a powerful and unique idea. He believed in fighting for freedom not with weapons and violence, but with truth, or satya, and non-violence, or ahimsa. He called this method satyagraha. He led the people in peaceful protests, like the famous Dandi Salt March, where he walked to the sea to make salt in defiance of an unfair British tax. His simple lifestyle and powerful message inspired millions of Indians from all walks of life to join the freedom struggle peacefully. Gandhi was not alone in this fight. He was joined by other great leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru, who would become India's first Prime Minister, and Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, who played a crucial role in uniting the country. Many others, including Subhas Chandra Bose and Bhagat Singh, also contributed to the freedom movement with their own methods and sacrifices. The struggle was long and involved boycotting British goods, peaceful marches, and non-cooperation with the government. Finally, after decades of struggle and the immense impact of World War II, the British government agreed to grant India its independence. On August 15, 1947, India finally became a free nation, a moment of immense joy and hope. Since gaining independence, India has continued its epic journey. It became the world's largest democracy, a country where people have the right to choose their own leaders. It has made incredible progress in many fields. Indian scientists have sent missions to the Moon and Mars, showcasing the nation's technological skill. Its economy has grown to become one of the largest in the world. Modern India is a vibrant, bustling country, full of energy and diversity. While it still faces many challenges, it continues to move forward, writing new chapters in its ancient story, a story of resilience, diversity, and an unbreakable spirit that has journeyed through thousands of years of history.